Hello and welcome. I'm very pleased to be able to join you today. I hope you've enjoyed the morning session and I hope the afternoon session is equally enjoyable. So my name is Alan Hayes. I'm from the Department of Computer Science at the University of Bath. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our postgraduate talk portfolio and in particular the conversion postgraduate programs that we offer that have been developed under the auspices of the Institute of Coding. So, computer science is our area, and in terms of our taught masters offering, we offer an MSc in Computer Science, an MSc in Data Science, Machine Learning and Autonomous Systems, Software Systems, Digital Entertainment, and an MSc in Computer Interaction, and a new to be launched MSc in Artificial Intelligence. Out of those 7 courses, 2 of them we operate under the auspices of the IOC and have been developed as generalist masters in the field of computer science. One is an MSc in Computer Science, and the other is an MSc in Artificial Intelligence. As I said before, the artificial intelligence is just about to have its first run this September. So in terms of entrance requirements, interestingly enough, for these generalist programs, we don't ask or look for a first degree in computer science, but we look for a strong first or second bachelor's degree. And inside that degree, we would look for some form of mathematics. So some stats, some quantitative analysis, some calculus, and some algebraic manipulation. So the students we anticipate coming from here would be primarily from STEM-based disciplines whose first degree is in one of the sciences, or whose first degree has got quite a bit of maths in it. For MSc in Computer Science, this too is a generalist, so we look for a first degree and we're quite relaxed again about the initial degree that you have. So we look for an undergraduate degree in any subject, but again, we're looking for a bit more maths on the program. But this course in particular, we think might well be for people who are already in industry maybe and are looking to reskill or to retrain. I'll say a little bit more about that again. So we're quite relaxed about the type of initial qualification you've got, and we look at where you've gained significant hands-on industrial experience and been successful in your company without necessarily having a first degree. So in terms of our delivery mode, both of our new MSCs, they run in full-time or part-time. So full-time is intensive, a 12-month program. And 12 months for us would normally be 12 months on campus. Like every other university, we're having to think a little bit about what that means now in terms of the current pandemic and the move to a blended learning type of environment. But ostensibly, there's a full-time student who would normally come onto campus, or you can take the program in a part-time mode, and that could be on campus if you wanted to, or is most likely to be online. So almost exclusively online, 1 unit or 1 module at a time. And then the third type of mode is these programs, well, the computer science program, runs in a degree apprenticeship mode. And what that means is that you are a full-time employee. Your company wants to retrain you or to embed and consolidate the on-the-job skills that you've acquired, and wants to do it in a formalized tuition setting, but you still keep working. So we've got this notion of a degree apprenticeship where we develop part of the course with yourself and your employer. Part of the course comes from ourselves. So in terms of our MSc in Artificial Intelligence, it tries to give you a good grounding in some of the principles of artificial intelligence. So we've got some programming in there, particularly for the AI context, some maths, in there, and we've got some natural language processing, some intelligent machines, human computer interface type of stuff, and some optional units. And the optional units is where we take the opportunity to perhaps work with employers and ask employers in the context of degree apprenticeships to work with us on deciding upon what those options are. And our MSc in Computer Science gives you a very, very broad base for computer science, and it covers things like programming, software engineering, so how do you develop a computer program. It looks a bit about databases. There's a little bit of maths in terms of foundations of computation, and a little bit more programming. And the idea behind that is by the time you leave with that program qualification, you're well grounded in mainstream computer science. We offer a placement year for the MSc in Artificial Intelligence. And so your 1 year MSc becomes a 2 year MSc. All placements are paid and take a year long, where you work with a industrial partner on a particular project. And it gives you the chance to put your skills and knowledge into practice and helps you to prepare for the project dissertation, and allows you to take some of the skills that you've learned and apply them in a real world context. And our MSc students are highly sought by employees. We think the balance of the curriculum coupled with the year-long experience is something that is quite attractive for employers. We have a dedicated team of people whose job it is to help you find employers to work with for your placement. And so there's quite a lot of support that we try to help you with, and that's things like CV writing, interview practice, and a contact list of employers that we arrange for you to go and meet. Okay, that's about all I wanted to say. Just a brief overview of the PGT conversion courses at Bath. My name is Alan Hayes, and if you want to know more about me, I'm from the Department of Computer Science at the University of Bath, and my email address is a.hayes@bath.ac.uk. So if anybody wants to drop me an email or make contact or want some follow-up questions, more than happy to receive some emails. Okay, so thank you for listening, and with that, I'm going to stop sharing now and hand on to my colleagues.
Thank you very much, Alan. I don't know if you want to answer some of the questions that popped up in the chat while you were talking first, before I...
I can do, if you like. I'm just getting my screen back. Okay. Hi, Alan. Do you know of any courses, desirable skills you need to display if you're a postgrad with limited maths experience? What we'd like you to do is to try and identify where in your experience you've gained some additional maths, and that might well be in the job that you're coming from, or it might well be in the course that you've done in terms of your degrees. And we want to have a discussion with you just where we would look for the maths, and our reason for wanting to do that is we want to recruit with integrity. We think that you need to be reasonably good at maths in order to pass our course. And what we wouldn't want to do is to take anybody where we think the maths is going to be too difficult and it's likely that students would fail. So what we would like to do is to have a one-to-one conversation with you and talk about where your maths has come from, and maybe work with you about some foundational work or some foundational courses that we'd recommend that will give you the skills that we think you would need. And so it's not a deal breaker, but you probably might have to do a little bit more work before you come. And as I say, we only want that because we want you to be successful, and we want you to come with us with all the skills that you might need. Okay, a degree in optometry, which involves very little mathematics, but an A at A level. Now that sounds like that might be okay. Again, what we would like to do is have a chat with you, but that would seem to be okay. We want a little bit more about knowledge about what's in your optometry first degree. As I say, the idea behind these conversion courses are all about people who've got their first degree and are looking to reskill. So we're quite relaxed about what the first degree is, but what we would like to do is just have a little chat to you about what maths you've done. And the A-level maths at grade A is a good indicator to us that you're mathematically literate. So for you, it wouldn't be too much of a barrier, but we'd just like to have a little chat with you about your course. Okay, I think that's my questions done. So Xander, if I hand over to you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
So I'm hopefully now sharing my screen. So yeah, I'm Xander Brouwer. I'm the Partnerships Manager at the Institute of Coding at Newcastle University. I'm going to specifically be talking about our conversion MSc degree apprenticeship in software engineering that we have designed under the auspices of the Institute of Coding. It will be running for the first time this coming year, but I'll tell you a little bit first about apprenticeships. So for anyone who doesn't have a lot of context around what apprenticeships mean, I'll talk a little bit about the philosophy of the program and then what the apprenticeship journey looks like. So we have already created 2 degree apprenticeships at Newcastle University before this. So we have a data analytics and cybersecurity MSc degree apprenticeship, which is very much aimed at experienced professionals. But the software engineering apprenticeship is very much aimed at people who come from kind of in the same way as Alan was saying, without a previous degree in computer science or related, but is very much aimed at reskilling people. So any degree apprenticeship is a business-based apprenticeship, and its apprenticeships have been created through business standards. So these standards have been are created by a number of businesses coming together who say, well, if you're going to be a software engineer, these are the things you need to know as a minimum. So we use the standard, which is called Digital and Technology Solutions Level 7, and Level 7 is the MSc level. And the apprenticeship will take at least 18 months long, but our program is actually 24 months. And it's fully funded through the apprenticeship levy. So you'll be in employment, whether it's full-time or part-time, and the employer will seek to upskill you and then reskill you in this specific area. Any apprentice who is working and is doing their apprenticeship has to spend 20% of their contracted time doing off-the-job training. That's a government requirement, and it's very much comes from a sort of 1 day a week college model that you might see if you're learning to become an electrician or something like that. Anyone who goes onto the apprenticeship must have at least a degree with some previous transferable skills. So our entry requirements are 2 and any degree. That could be nursing, it could be history, it could be biology. There's a really diverse range of subjects that our students come from. Or you can have a number of years sort of good work experience. So maybe you've been a team manager in a call center or something like that. That could set you up and sort of offset not having a degree if you're in that situation. Another requirement of the apprenticeship levy is that you have to be a UK or an EU citizen, or you have to have been at least in the UK for at least 3 years and eligible to work. But you can be an existing member of staff to the business. So if you're currently in employment and you're wanting to reskill, this could be a potential option. But it also could be someone who's completely new to an organization. But what's really important for an apprenticeship is that you have to be in a role where you can use these skills. So maybe you're, as the example I tend to use is you couldn't be a barista who is studying to become an engineer because you couldn't use your engineering skills while you're making coffees. But it could be that maybe you're only doing software engineering 10% of your time, and the rest of your time you're still spending on your previous job. You sort of slowly move into this as an area. And so the Digital and Technology Solution Standard includes a number of things. So obviously it includes the core technical knowledge, skills and behavior that you would expect. And it has a number of specialist focuses. So this is obviously the software engineering specialism that we focus on. And then it also has a number of soft skills that we teach as part of the program, but I'll explain that a bit more in a second. People do coursework, and there's tripartite meetings, so we can have mechanisms in place that are a bit different from a normal MSc, where you meet regularly with the apprentice, your line manager, and then the university as well to kind of check up on sort of progression and things like that. And then every apprenticeship rather ends with an endpoint assessment. And so you go through the program, you progress onto the final project, which we call the capstone project. And then after that, we determine whether someone's ready to go onto the endpoint assessment. And the endpoint assessment consists of a portfolio, which you've built up during the duration of your program. You have a professional discussion on that. We kind of almost compare it to a job interview, like give an example of a time when you did X, Y, Z. And then there's a report based on the project that you've written, which is quite similar to how another MSc, like more normal non-apprenticeship MSc, would have a final dissertation. And so the program comes very much from the fact that we as a university think there's a good offering in the northeast of England aimed at reskilling and upskilling young people. But there's no specific apprenticeship structure to reskill more experienced people, so who maybe have a bit of a career behind them, but they're looking to transition into a career in tech. And because of our expertise, we thought this was a very natural next step for us as Newcastle University. We have experience in delivering a MSc in Computer Science, very similar to the one Bath runs for over 20 years. And we've got some very successful graduates who've come through that route, who've gone on to both professional and academic careers, very senior academics within the School of Computing at Newcastle. Their first touch point with computing science was actually going through the MSc Computer Science, the conversion course. And it really brings together a number of graduates from a really diverse range of backgrounds. And I think that's one of the really key things for us. So we kind of recognize that and think there's a number of good ways to use the program. So one would be to recruit a new member of staff to increase team capacity. Another would be to retrain people from within the business so that you can help promote retention. But we're also speaking to businesses specifically about using this as, for example, a women's returners program, and actually have businesses think how you can use a program like this to become more diverse and increase gender, improve the gender balance and things like that. And that's very much something we're very keen to promote with businesses that we work with. So what does the program look like? It has sort of two main strands. So it has the very technical strand, as you would expect. So that's where we cover intro to software development, business applications, and then the emerging technologies at the end. Those are the really core, really technical, where we teach programming, Java, HTML, and web applications and things like that. We do then the sort of more softer side of software development. So in the software development lifecycle, we will cover the sort of human-computer interaction, as we call it. So how do you get the specifications for a new piece of software? How do you make sure that the software is the right standard for the business that you're working with? And then those soft skill modules that I refer to are these two modules here in the middle: the digital innovation, technology management, and leadership and change in a digital age. And we've developed them in partnership with the Newcastle University Business School, very much with a view of helping to bring some of those really important leadership and management skills to people who go through an apprenticeship. And then the final step is the capstone project, which is a 6-month project. It's entirely based in the business that all the apprentices will go through. And it's really an opportunity for the apprentice to take some ownership of a very specific area. Maybe it's even an opportunity for the business to do something that's a bit new, a bit different from what they've done in the past. So maybe develop a new application, or the apprentice might take ownership of a larger project that's already ongoing. So there's a number of different routes there. We are delivering this very much in a blended environment. We do 1 day a week within the university, although that's very much pre-COVID language. So this is what a typical blended schedule would look like. So you'd have the Friday, which we would do the sort of day release day on. You have a workshop. You might have a lab. And there'll be some breaks built in as well, and then also some surgery time that you spend with the apprenticeship tutor, and time to ask questions and such of the subject matter experts. And then the rest of the week, you probably do some work-based activities that are related to your degree apprenticeship, but also related directly to the workplace. And it's one of the important areas of that is reflective learning, and then kind of considering how you're building up that portfolio and what the skills are that you've been taught, and think about how you're using those in the workplace. For COVID, obviously, like I said, we've made some adjustments, as every university is at the moment. We're not going to be delivering any face-to-face teaching in our first semester for this program, but there will still be quite a structured approach. So, for example, the Fridays will still be quite important. So there'll be a sort of 24-hour discussion board where you can drop in and out and have a discussion with the module leader and your peers. There'll be a 90-minute online Zoom meeting for any discussion and support. And then during that week as well, you work on a group project, and then any assessment and such as well. And typically we'll try and arrange a meeting with the apprenticeship tutor once a week. And then obviously you'll continue doing those work-based activities while you're probably most likely working from home. And there's a number of student support things that we offer as well. So we offer mentoring. So our apprenticeship tutors are very important in helping apprentices progress and kind of stay aware of what they're doing. And then you get access to all the university resources as well. So we've got study skills workshop. If you're, maybe not quite sure about maths or anything like that, we've got specific workshops for that. But you can also get access to all the normal societies and things and sports clubs, etc., that you might want as a normal student. So that's it for me. Like I said, my name is Sander. Get in touch either via the email or drop me a message on here. But I'll leave it at that. Stop sharing my screen and then hand over to Louise, unless there's any questions that anyone has right now. I think not.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. So to introduce myself, I am Louise Phipps, the Business Development Manager at Coventry University. I'm going to come at this from a slightly different angle in that I currently lead on a consortium for the Institute of Coding that won some funding from the Office for Students to deliver a number of postgraduate conversion courses in data science and artificial intelligence. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the universities involved, but talk more about how the programme was developed, what that means for the student, and probably more importantly for everyone listening, the fact that there are still scholarships available that people can apply for if they want to. So just to give you a background on why these courses were made available, in 2019 the government made a statement and announced that there was going to be significant skills shortages in AI and data science specialists in the UK. And in response to this, the DCMS and the Office for Artificial Intelligence decided that they would provide funding to develop postgraduate conversion courses in these areas. And the goal of the new conversion courses is to respond to these shortages of data science and AI specialists in the UK, particularly focusing on those that aren't necessarily from a STEM background, so where we've previously talked about optometrists, nurses, engineers, who want to make that transition over. That's what these courses are designed for. So the government's digital strategy predicted that within 20 years, 90% of all jobs will require some digital skills, and we're actually costing the UK businesses $2 billion a year in higher salaries for those that do have these skills to plug those gaps. So there are a few more stats around this. A total of 12 million has been made available for the development of the courses that I'm going to talk to you about, and over 2,000 scholarships will be made available over the next 3 years. So to give you an idea of the consortium partners on this particular project, so all of these universities are already members of the Institute of Coding, but also have received funding to deliver the postgraduate conversion courses as well. So we've got Queen Mary, Bath, Gloucestershire, Manchester Met, Birkbeck, obviously Coventry, UE, Sunderland, Lancaster, Aston and Exeter. Now, where we spoke about specific courses, my colleagues, all of these universities are offering something slightly different, whether it's an MSc, a master's programme, or a postgrad certificate in AI and data science. There's a mixture of online learning, blended learning and face-to-face, although like colleagues, most of this is currently moving to online learning. So when we were creating the consortium, it was really important to us to have the learners at the centre of everything that we did. And we created a number of work packages to make sure that the funding was being used appropriately and gave everyone the opportunity that we needed to. So I'm going to kind of touch on some of the points around the work packages, not go into too much detail, but like Melanie said in the chat, these presentations will be available on YouTube afterwards. So really the work package one is led by Coventry, that's project management. That's to make sure that all of our university partners are adhering to the requirements for the Office for Students, that all the courses are going to be delivered in a timely manner, that we're all awarding scholarships in the same way, adhering to the OFS requirements as well as individual university requirements, and that we're complying with GDPR and our project risk register. We've got work package 2, diversity. Now this was a big one for us, not only to look at diversity in terms of who was going to want to do these courses, but actually how the courses were developed. The way in which that you create a programme can make it easier for certain people to understand than others, dependent on student personas and backgrounds. So within this, prior to any course development starting, all academics that are working on the programme have had to go through a specific diversity training programme that has been designed for this course. It's just been designed in order to allow them to create and deliver a more inclusive curriculum for all of the students to be able to participate in. There's also a student representative scheme that we've created, so there's an opportunity for students to be a part of the co-creation of content and to have some say in the design and delivery of curriculum. Now this is a 3-year programme, so as this moves forward, those sessions and those opportunities to get involved as a student will become more and more regular. And then from a diversity point of view, we also have to monitor and report back to the Office of Students on the level of student diversity across all the 11 universities involved. Delivery models and programmes, there's a lot of information on this slide, so I'm not going to go through it stage by stage. But in essence, what the consortium has is 11 universities all offering postgraduate conversion courses in AI and data science, targeting different sectors and using different delivery models. So across the consortium, we do have some very generic AI and data science courses. We also have some that are very specifically aimed at the healthcare sector, the engineering sector and the automotive sector. Within the OFS opportunity, there are other sectors that have been targeted, such as legal as well. So the programme really is looking at different ways of delivery. So like I said, we've got some online learning, some blended learning. None of this is the apprenticeship route that Xander was talking about. That's something different. Different qualifications. So as I've previously said, you could come onto one of these courses with the view of getting a master's at the end of it, or we have got postgraduate certificates, which are obviously part-time study and slightly quicker to achieve. And then within the delivery models and programmes, this is all led by Aston University. So the institutions are checking each other's content, sharing content where appropriate, which in the past has been quite difficult between university partners to do. And they're also coordinating learning groups. What we're trying not to do is have 11 universities all delivering exactly the same course, but actually are there ways of interacting between those courses, sharing good practice and sharing learning. And then we also have to, again, report that all back to the Office for Students. Work package 4 is learners, and that's led by Manchester Met. So this is all about the learners and how we're supporting. So setting up learner support groups and holistic pastoral support. As you can imagine at the moment, there's a lot of discussions around how we can effectively do that virtually until face-to-face learning can commence. We have coordination of the postgrad student representatives, so where we mentioned that students were able to participate in course creation and course design, this is coordinated by Manchester Met. And then we have student voice forums as well. So we're not just interested in students being able to contribute towards the development of the course, but we also need to seek that continuous feedback in terms of how the course is going, is the learning appropriate, in particular where we understand that some people won't have had experience in AI and data science before. Are we making sure it's understandable? Did you receive adequate support prior to starting the course to make an informed decision? And then we actually feed that back into our industry board, which is made up of a number of industry professionals who are advising and almost quality checking what we're doing to make sure it actually is relevant for industry, and the courses are going to support towards bridging that skills gap. And then again, there will be a student conference and employability fairs on the conversion courses. So while we anticipate that some people will come from industry, will be employed, therefore potentially will have a work placement whilst they're on the programme, we understand that some people won't, and we will be supporting around that. My role within the consortium is that of business development manager. I'm there to support with work placements across the whole consortium for all 11 institutions. I also lead on marketing and business engagement as well. And then again, we do have to report the student voice back to the consortium and back to the Office for Students. There's a lot of information on this slide because it's what I do, so probably what I know best. But business and development and marketing. So although I work for Coventry University, I'm actually responsible for the marketing and business development across the whole consortium, whether that's looking at industry engagement that we've had at the beginning to help with course creation, or through to work placements. There is a 2-week open online non-accredited course that I am going to tell you more about in a moment. We refer to that as a bootcamp. It's been my responsibility to oversee that and make sure that it has completed in a timely manner, which I'm pleased to say it has. We are also targeted with a number of learners onto the programme, and also distributing a number of scholarships as well. Again, collating work experience and industry placements, and facilitating industry engagement workshops in order to support with recruitment post completion of the courses. These industry engagement workshops are imminently due to commence as our student recruitment workshops, where you'll have academics talking about the individual courses that are going to be run. So from an academic, what am I going to learn point of view, you can ask the questions that you want to. This project also sits alongside the Central Institute of Coding, so it's my role to ensure that we are engaging with the Institute of Coding, they're aware of what we're doing, we're almost tapping into the networks that they have, in particular where we talk about scholarships, and we're fortunate to have so many scholarships that we are able to award over the next couple of years, making sure we're maximising the channels in which we can share that out, so that people are aware and able to apply. And then beyond that, looking at how we can make the consortium sustainable post the funding from the OFS running out, and again monitoring, reporting, looking at the industry engagement and marketing at a consortium level and reporting that back into the Office for Students. I very briefly touched on the bootcamp in the last slide. Before, a couple of you were asking about entry requirements, and Alan and Xander both went into details about the kind of things you can expect to learn. One of the things that we were keen to do when we put together the consortium was, it's very easy to call yourself a consortium, but essentially be 11 universities all doing your own thing under a banner. So what we decided to do, as opposed to set very strict entry requirements, but actually put together this online bootcamp. It's essentially a 2-week taster course around the postgraduate conversion courses starting on the 31st of August. It's free of charge, it is non-accredited, but what it does, it gives you a taster of the kinds of things you will be expected to learn whilst you're on your postgrad conversion course. So if you don't have a background in AI and data science, you think it's a good idea, but you're not sure of the kind of things you can learn, you can go on to the 2-week course. There is no requirement at the end of it to move on to one of the postgraduate conversion courses, but it gives you a good understanding. If you go on to that 2-week bootcamp and think, actually, there are some of these things I'm really not sure about, you might then find that in looking at the postgrad conversion courses that are offered, there are some universities that offer more of what you like and less of what you don't, and you can talk to those academics face to face. The bootcamp aims to run 3 times a year, so it will run just before the recruitment period for the postgraduate conversion courses, and again just gives you the opportunity to almost try before you buy. Scholarships, something that everyone's interested in. So at the moment we've got over 200 available across the consortium. They are to be awarded to those in underrepresented groups. Now, each university does have a statement on their individual website that explains the scholarship application process. All of the scholarship applications are due to close on the 10th of August across the entire consortium. Now, that is dependent on the number of applications. So we have been allocated a set amount of scholarships every year for the institutions that we work with. If we aren't able to award those scholarships, it may be that we return them to the Office for Students or that we move them around institutions depending on applications. So if you are interested, my suggestion would be that you apply sooner rather than later. Scholarships are £10,000. They are awarded to cover the cost of fees, equipment, childcare and travel where required. Most of the courses within the consortium, well, all of the courses within the consortium range from £3,500 for a postgraduate conversion certificate through to just under £10,000 for a master's qualification. Each university is offering a different version of that course dependent on what you want to get out of it, how you want to study, are you part-time, full-time, online or blended. And each university does have a proportion of the scholarships. So I've previously mentioned universities involved in the consortium. All of those universities do have scholarships available over the next 3 years. Again, details on how to apply can be found on their course pages. You can also find a list of all the universities that were awarded funding and scholarship funding on the Office for Student website. Each university links directly to their course page where you can find out more information about the course. And like I previously said, scholarships will be available for the next 3 years. So I previously mentioned some events that would be going on. We do have a learner engagement workshop on the 25th of August. We're just finalising times and speakers, etc. But that will be advertised via the Institute of Coding, via Coventry University and all the partner institutions as well. That's an opportunity to meet some of the academics and to really ask questions about content of programmes and any institution-specific content. We also have a number of employer engagement events coming up. So whether you are an employer and you're looking to offer someone a placement, whether you have some employees that you feel might be suitable to put through the programme, this is or you would like to get involved in creating some content for the programme. Again, these will all be advertised on the Institute of Coding website, Coventry University's website, our partner website, and across social media. That was it from me. As you can see, I've not really gone in from an academic point of view. I'm not an academic, so if you do have any questions, I am more than happy to answer them. I'm just going to go back to my screen. So the 2-week course, it is held on a platform called FutureLearn. So it is 2 weeks full-time in terms of the hours that you would need to undertake, but you can drop in and out as you will. There's no commitment to sit in front of a laptop for 2 weeks solid. If you are working, you can do a couple of hours a day. when you go onto the Future Learn website, it does tell you how many guided learning hours that course is. With regards to placements, I can only answer that question from a Coventry University point of view, not a consortium. Coventry University are still looking at placements. What we are currently doing, particularly with this, is looking at remote placements. So it is something that can be supported online or virtually. But we're also looking at, do we just switch the semester in which the placements are undertaken? How many students are going to come to us with placement opportunities anyway? Each university does have someone that is actively working on placements. So although I work across the consortium, that's very much in just promoting what we're doing, promoting to businesses that we have students ready for placements. Each institution, like Xander said earlier, will have someone that is actively out speaking to businesses, securing placements for students. Has anyone got any further questions? Okay. Yes, you would have to apply separately for each of those universities. As a consortium, we're quite conscious that there are 11 institutions all offering similar courses. We wouldn't expect someone just to apply to one institution. You're welcome to apply to any across the consortium, but you would have to apply separately. Okay, I think that's it from Alan. Xander, is there anything that either of you want to add?
No, I think we've covered off here everything.
Yeah, me too, unless anybody's got any questions. Just like to thank everyone for attending and listening. I hope it was useful.